put off our videos and mics. Thank you. So welcome, Reverend Diane, for the devotion.
Thank you, Merab, and a very warm welcome. Greetings to all of you. Happy New Year, and praise the Lord. I want to believe that we are all well, and to thank God for all of us for this time that the Lord has given us an opportunity to be together in St. Paul's family. So a very warm welcome. Let us pray to begin. Our Father and our God, this morning we are bound before you to thank you, to honor you, to give you thanks and to exalt your name that is above all other names. Thank you for this gathering. We know, Jehovah Lord, you're not limited by space or distance. And I know that wherever each one of us is logged in from, Jehovah Lord, your presence is with them. And in this time, Jehovah Lord, and this space, that Father God, we pray you will bless us, you'll be with us, and you speak to us, and that Jehovah Lord, you use me to minister to your people here. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, we pray and give thanks. Amen. Allow me to read from the book of Matthew, chapter number 6. I read from verse 25. Therefore I say unto you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? Which of you, by worrying, can add 1 cubit to his stature? So why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, neither toil nor spin. And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Now if God so clothes the grass of the field, which day is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, or you of little faith? Therefore do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For after all these things the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. The reading I've just read is perhaps one of the most common readings or texts. Once in a while, people would encourage one another with the verses I've just read. But in our own context this morning, allow me to bring it closer to us. I know it is the beginning of the year. The other day I was in another forum, I was talking about people making plans and, dreaming big and even making resolutions. It is also the month that is characterized with Njamingi, and people have ironically called it Njanuary, meaning, like there's a lot of luck. Perhaps I would say for those who didn't have so much, or for those who spent so much over December and remained so little for January. But my interest is more in the word that the Lord has spoken to us this morning. When the Bible tells, or Jesus himself was talking to his disciples, encouraging them and telling them, yes, it is true, there are things that we should worry about. And he mentions clothing, food, and perhaps one of a few things here and there that commonly worries people. And I know perhaps the most important things even characterized like by psychologists, is food, clothing, and shelter as basic things. And I know when one does not have food, does not have clothing, does not have a shelter, one is considered either homeless or living in abject poverty. Nevertheless, Jesus was understanding all that because he lived in the earth like everyone else, but he was considering other things more important than the basics, what we could consider the basics. I just talked to one student the other day, and the student was worried. Yes, I have fees for this semester, but I don't know what I'll do in the next semester. Perhaps we are starting a journey that we do not know, or we may be knowing, but there are things that may arise. That is what I am bringing us today to tell us that, yes, we could be living in this context of perhaps expectations, and sometimes things go beyond our expectations. But there is a word that is assuring us this morning of the provisions of the Lord and how the Lord takes care of us, even in the midst of this journey, in the midst of the plans we have made, in the midst of even the uncertainties of life. And so I want to submit to us this morning, whether we are Christians or people of other faith, that there is one who is able to provide. The only thing he tells us is not to worry. Yes, we might have charted our way on how we will do things, but we also need to understand that there are things that are beyond our control. And that's where we now involve the Almighty God, who is able to take care of those worries in our lives. Perhaps worries of COVID-19, as we are living and getting used to live with COVID-19. Perhaps worries of how to balance work with studies and family and other responsibilities in our lives. Perhaps worries of even our children, our spouses, and every other thing, the economy. Now we are getting into electioneering period. Perhaps we are also worrying who is going to be the next president. All those things, yes, they matter, but there is one thing that the Lord assures us this morning, that we should stay focused and know that He is able to chart the way for us, to guide us, and to walk with us every step. So mine is to encourage us this morning that let us remain on course. Let us allow God to hold our hands even as we begin the year, as we begin the courses we have enrolled in St. Paul's, and allow the Lord to lead the way. And that way we will not be disappointed. I would want to conclude by saying, perhaps looking at the verse 33 and saying that besides everything else, the Lord is encouraging us to seek His kingdom first, and the others will be followed. So when we seek the will of God, the kingdom of God, all those other things perhaps in our bucket list, the Lord is going to take care of them. I want to wish you well in your studies, in your programs as you have enrolled with us, and to pray that the Lord of provisions, the Lord of peace, the Lord who promises and keeps His promises, is going to be with you even as you interact in various aspects of St. Paul's life. We want to say a warm welcome even to our chapel programs and every other program of St. Paul's, and wish you well. Let us pray. But before we pray, I want to play a song that says, "Guide me, thou great Redeemer." Our Lord and Savior, this morning, once again, we come before you. And we thank you, Jehovah Lord, for your ministration to us this morning. Thank you for this gathering of your people. And I pray that Jehovah Lord, even as we have heard your word, your promise and your assurance that you will be with us and that we should not worry, dear Lord. I want to commit the cares and the needs of our dear student and for the St. Paul's and the nation and our lives, individual lives before you this morning. How I pray that my Father and my God, that Jehovah Lord, you, O King Master of Glory, bless and keep the one that you have spoken to each one of us this morning. I pray for the studies of the dear ones enrolled here, dear Father. I pray for your divine provision, Jehovah Father. I pray for safety of body, mind, and health, King Master of Glory. I pray for this program, Jehovah lead, King and the leader of this program. How we pray that Jehovah Lord will manifest your great power in our situations where we feel helpless, that my Father, you will arise and scatter all the forces of the enemy in our lives in the name of Jesus Christ. And so, God, this day we want to commit each and every speaker and presenter before you, praying that my Father, by your grace, Jehovah Lord, is going to be an understanding of the content of this orientation to bring clarity, Jehovah Lord, in areas that students, Jehovah Father, will be interacting and Father needing help, because I know, Jehovah Lord, you are gracious to us, oh Father. Give us the grace for the day, for the glory and honor of your holy name. I pray that my Father, Jehovah Lord, you will continue blessing each one of us, for it is in Jesus' mighty name we pray and give thanks. Amen. Amen. Over to you, Mera.
Thank you, Reverend Diane, for that encouragement. Indeed, some of us may have started this journey just as a journey of faith. We don't know where the school fees will come from. We don't know whether we'll be able to finish. But Reverend Diane has assured us that the Lord is faithful. We begin with him and he will see us through. Thank you once again, Reverend Diane. So moving on, I'd like to just take you through the overview of today's program. It is a one-day program, meaning it takes the whole day. And you may be wondering possibly why we have this session. I'd just like to explain that we have this session, first of all, to introduce you to this great university which you have chosen to be part of. So it's important that you learn about this, your university of choice. Again, you need to learn more about the course you have made a decision to join. So we will have time for you to be able to get introduced to the course, meet your heads of department, the faculty members, and so on. So it is an important time for you to get to learn more about the course, the mode of study, what the university expects of you as a student, and even what you are to expect from the university. So in other words, the session is meant to prepare you for your time here at St. Paul's as a student, because it's a journey you have started, and you need to be prepared for this journey. So we try to equip you with all that you need to be able to carry forward as you start your classes. So to achieve this, we have a number of presentations. So different people, different staff will be making presentation. And I would ask that we take a keen interest in what is being presented, because this is an opportunity to be able to understand the course, the program, how we work, and what is expected of you. So take a keen interest and learn so that your time as a student will be smooth. Housekeeping matters is that, once again, this is a virtual space and we need maximum concentration. So once again, I ask that we switch off our videos and mute our mics, because when you don't do that, it interferes with concentration. There are times when, like just now, there are times when we won't hear what the presenter is saying, or we might have to stop fast, and this is not good. So let us switch off so that we can be together. But in the meantime, feel free to use the chat. If you have anything you want to share in the chat box, and you'll be responded to. Like right now, I can see a number of people have raised hands. I don't know whether it is that they have something to say, or they have pressed by mistake. I don't know. But I would ask that if you have something, kindly put in the chat box and we will be able to respond to you. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a pleasant day. So to begin us off, I'd like to welcome the Director for Distance and E-Learning, Madam Grace Kinyanjui Njeru, to take us through the first presentation and to officially welcome us to St. Paul's University. Welcome, Madam Grace. The session is yours.
Thank you, Merab, and thank you, Reverend Diane, for starting us off very well this morning. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, our new students, and a very warm welcome to you to St. Paul's University, and even to the year 2022 as you commence your studies with us. So before I go into the presentations, allow me to also allow my colleagues to unmute and greet you and welcome you to St. Paul's University. I see a few of them here, and I wish to begin with the ones that I work very closely with in the Distance and E-Learning office. I have noted that they are all here, so let them unmute and do exactly that, followed by the rest of our colleagues who are here, and then I will start off with the presentations. Thank you. Merab, I hope I am.
Good morning.
Oh, can I be heard?
Yes, you are very audible.
Oh, perfect. Okay, Patricia, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to St. Paul's University, to the new students. My name is Patricia Gakinya. I work in the distance learning office as the administration assistant. We will be interacting more on issues to do with registration, timetabling, and any other challenge or query that you may want to inquire from us. So welcome once again. Thank you.
Edwin, it's your turn. You are still muted. I'm not sure if Edwin can hear us. We can see you, but we can't hear you. You're still muted. I don't know if you're there with Oscar. Oscar, are you there? Maybe you can go first.
Oh yes, Grace, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am with Edwin here. He's trying to resolve his microphone, the unmute function. Good morning once again, colleagues and new students. My name is Oscar Webala from the DL office. I serve as the instructional designer. Basically, what I do is helping faculty to plan and manage development of their courses. And besides that is all about designing online content, which is creative and interactive. I sum it up as this. Mine is just to enhance the teaching and learning experience. Otherwise, please feel welcome, and we shall be interacting more in the course of the semester and the course of your courses. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. I'm not sure about Edwin. I don't know if he can use your... Okay, go ahead.
Well, Edwin is refreshing his browser. In the meantime, I think Irene can go next and then Edwin thereafter.
Okay, okay. Irene, are you there?
Yes, I am there.
Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much. I take this opportunity to welcome the new students. My name is Irene Monga, and I deal with the exams. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene.
Go on.
We can hear you now, Edwin.
Good morning. I want to extend a warm welcome to all our new students. My name is Edwin Wanjuru. We'll be interacting more on matters related to ICT, user support to ensure that you're able to access all our platforms, submit your works, and take part in the learning process. Just as Merab mentioned, the session is supposed to run the entire day. Kindly make time to attend all the sessions because important information that will make your life easier at SPU will be communicated to us, and so that you're also able to ask any questions or clarifications you may have. We'll meet probably later in the day at around 2 when we'll have an ICT session. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin, and those the members that support the functions within the ODeL Center. And so these are the people who will render direct support to you in this mode of study. I welcome the rest of the colleagues. I see Joseph and Ruth. Please say a quick welcome so that you can move on. Okay, I am not sure if they can hear us. So therefore, we will just proceed with the rest of the program. And right now, I wish to do the presentation that introduces you to the university. And it should be up in a minute. Okay, kindly confirm that you can see my first slide.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Please also let me know if they stall and they're not moving, Merab. Thank you.
All right.
Great. So thank you once again and welcome to St. Paul's University. I'm doing this presentation on behalf of the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Professor Peter Ngure, after which I will do my presentation as the Director for Distance and E-Learning Programs. So I'm doing this on his behalf. St. Paul's University is a university of academic excellence that is guided by Christian principles, producing graduates in various fields for global service. So as we welcome you, we wish you to take note of this, as this is what drives our mandate as a university. Our theme verse for the year is drawn from Psalms 31:24, which says that we should be strong, take heart, all those of us who hope in the Lord. So every year we have an annual guiding verse, and this is the one that has been leading us since June, since the close of June last year up until June this year, where we will have another guiding annual theme. But for now, that is where we draw our strength from. We wish to thank you for choosing St. Paul's University. Merab did allude to this. She said that you had many options. You could have chosen another university, and therefore we thank you for choosing us as your premier vehicle to deliver on your academic goals. Our commitment to you is to partner with you in developing or advancing your career. We do know that there are those of us who have come back to school so that they are able to advance their career. They wish to get promoted or, develop their career in a particular way, and therefore they need to build on your studies. So we are here to partner with you for that particular course. Our commitment to you also is to provide quality, relevant, and holistic education. And I'm sure by the end of your stay with us, you will be able to gauge and see that indeed quality and relevant and holistic education has been given to you. More so for those of us who will be going for industrial attachment, you will notice that during that particular period, you will be required to apply that which you have been taught in class to the practice in those particular organizations. At this point, you will be able to gauge the relevance in your application of praxis. So that is our commitment to you. A brief history of St. Paul's University. St. Paul's University was founded in Freetown, Mombasa by the Church Missionary Society, which was also known as the Anglican Mission Agency, and that was in the year 1874. So you can imagine how long ago that was, and this makes us some of the oldest institutions around this region.
Sorry, Madam Grace.
Yes.
The slides are not moving. Yeah, okay, we are there now. Thank you.
All right. So, just a minute. So can you see the slide on the brief history?
Yes, we can.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way you can make it bigger, or it's up to
Yes.
each one of us? Okay, yeah, that's great. That's okay.
All right, so I don't know, can you see them now?
Sorry, Grace. Edwin suggesting that you can take over so you can present on your behalf.
Okay, I'm trying to present them on my phone and it's giving me problems, so that would be a good idea. Let me pull them down.
Okay.
Thank you. So let's wait for Edwin to take over. Great, thank you. So yeah, in 1874, yeah, that is when the idea was formed. In 1930, St. Paul's Divinity School was moved to Limuru in Kiambu County, and that is where we are currently located. Next slide. In 1955, the Divinity School became St. Paul's United Theological College, bringing together Anglicans, Presbyterians, and Methodist churches to train men for ordained ministry. And then in 1973, the Reformed Church of East Africa joined these other partners as part of the process. And then in 1994, the National Council of Churches of Kenya teamed up with St. Paul's University. So from that particular slide, you can see that St. Paul's University is supported by various partners and churches, and those are part of the constitution of who own St. Paul's University. Let's move on. In 2007, we were awarded a charter, and you can see from that photo the former president, President Mwai Kibaki, signing the charter. And from that point on, we became a fully fledged university. And therefore, you are in a university that is well known globally, regionally, and nationally. The Board of Trustees, and I had alluded to this, St. Paul's University is owned by 4 churches and the NCCK, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, and the 4 churches include the Anglican Church of Kenya, the Presbyterian Church of Kenya, the Methodist Church of Kenya, the Reformed Church of East Africa, and the National Council of Churches of Kenya. Next slide. Our vision is that we are a university of academic excellence guided by Christian principles, producing graduates in various fields for global service. So those of us who are enrolling for management courses, part of what you'll be taken through as an appreciation of why organizations should have functional statements is the need to have a vision statement, which is what you hope or want to achieve in coming days. So our vision, and I wish to underline some words here, is that we are hopeful and we hope to achieve academic excellence in our executions every day. And as our lecturers interact with you, we hope that academic excellence will be achieved, and we also guarantee you that this is what we work towards achieving in our undertakings. And most importantly, the Christian principles are something that we stand for and are embedded in what we do. So you will discover that your classes will be beginning with prayers, or in the way the portal is populated, you are requested to populate a Bible verse or encourage your colleagues or pray. Kindly note that we are a Christian university, and that is also our vision. And of course, we hope that we can have you molded in all that for global service. Our mission is to develop servant leaders by imparting knowledge, skills, and values through creative methods of education, research, and spiritual formation. So our mission, again, is what we do every single day. Every university officer wakes up to go to class or to serve you in an office because we want to develop a servant leader in you. How do we do this? We want to impart knowledge, skills, and values. And this is through creative methods of education. For example, the mode that you have signed to study in, the distance and e-learning mode, is a creative method of education, because without it, and we actually were able to test this during the COVID-19 pandemic, and we had closure of various places in the world, that if this mode of study did not exist, it would have been possible to continue with teaching and learning. So it's a creative method of education amongst others. And we also would want to impart research competencies within you, and most importantly, because we are a Christian university, that you're going to be to undergo spiritual formation while at it. Next slide, please. Our core values, we use an acronym, EPIPE, are ecumenism, professionalism, integrity, partnership, equity, and customer-centric. So again, these are values that we hope that you will process and strive to demonstrate that you're also guided by these values, as we also do the same from our end as a service provider to you. So we are an ecumenical university, meaning that we are open to people from different faiths, But bottom line is that we are a Christian university, and therefore we will require that all our students are respectful of that fact. However, even if you come from a different religious background, you will be accommodated at St. Paul's University to study with us. We are also professionals. So in your dealings with us, we request that you're also professional. In case something is not working out as it should, it is indeed prudent that we embark on the official mechanisms for voicing out an issue, and a response will be sought for the issue. We are also people of integrity, and we also appeal that you also demonstrate integrity in all you do, particularly in doing your work as a student. When assignments are provided, it is our expectation that you're going to embark on required research and refrain from vices such as copying and pasting and other cheating vices that can be subjected through a policy procedure where you are found guilty, and some of the repercussions are very hefty. We are also partners. You and I are now partners, saying that you are now here with us. You will continue to carry the name of St. Paul's University wherever you go. So again, let us partner in each and every way. Where there are gaps, let's sit at the table and discuss. Reach out to us where things are not working out so that they can be resolved in good time. And let us also follow the mechanisms that have been put in place for conflict resolution, and also for communication, so that our issues are attended to in good time. Equity, we believe in fairness. We believe in fairness in all that we do, and we will strive to treat each and everyone in a fairly manner. You are our customers, and for that we promise to give you a good service, and where possible exceed the service that you hope to receive from us, and we will strive to do this each and every day. Next slide, please. We have campuses in Limuru, and Limuru is one beautiful campus. If you get time, you can pay a visit our offices. We are putting up wonderful facilities to support the ODeL programs, which is what you have signed up for. That is work in progress, but if you have time, please pass by, so that the only time you visit Limuru campus is not the only time when you're coming to graduate. You're welcome to visit the campus. We also have Nairobi campus, which is at Church House. And then we have campuses in Machakos and Nakuru. So as our student, feel free to go to any of those campuses for a support service that you may be requiring. And if need be, they will reach to us to resolve an issue that you may be having. Meet the People tour. I wish to introduce you to a number of people who are critical to the runnings of St. Paul's University. The first one is the Chancellor. That is Professor Margaret Kobia, and she's the titular head of the university and presides at all ceremonial assemblies of the university. The landmark ceremony where you get to interact with Professor Kobia is during your graduation, and majorly that is the time that she will be around the university. The next person is the council chairman, and this is His Grace the Archbishop, Dr. Jackson Olesapit, and he's the council chairman, and he is responsible for chairing all the council meetings. And the council is a body that oversees the runnings of this university, and therefore in that area, he is the overall leader. Then the next person is the Vice Chancellor, and our Vice Chancellor is Reverend Professor James Combo, and he welcomes you warmly to St. Paul's University. And then we do have the two Deputy Vice Chancellors, and the one I'm doing this presentation on behalf is Professor Peter Ngure, and he's in charge of academics, research, and student affairs. And you can be sure that this is the one person who you're probably going to interact with majorly because of the academics that you're involved in. If you're doing postgraduate work, again, a lot of facilitations in research and other issues affecting you as a student also will go to his desk. The other Deputy Vice Chancellor is the one in charge of finance and administration, and this is Reverend Dr. Zablon Bundi. So these are the people who ensure that the university is running on a day-to-day basis. We may not interact with them so much on matters academic, but a strong pillar in ensuring that things are happening and that all is well taken care of, including the infrastructure. Next slide. Now we're looking at the faculties, and at St. Paul's University, we have 3 faculties. The first one is Faculty of Theology, and this is led by the Dean, Reverend Professor Daifas Chemorion, and there's a head of department who is Reverend Dr. Julius Kithinji. In this faculty, we have 2 departments. That is the one for history, pastoral religion, theology, and practical studies. And we also have a department of biblical studies. So if you have come to do a Bachelor of Theology degree, this is your faculty. And at the ODeL Directorate, we work very closely with all the deans and the heads of departments because they're directly responsible for the academic component, and they're also responsible for the faculties. I mean, the lecturers who are teaching you. So we work very closely together. The next faculty is the Faculty of Business, Computer Science, and Communication Studies. This is led by Dr. John Mohoho, and this is the largest faculty, and it has 3 departments within it. The Department of Business, and the heads of department for the Department of Business are Dr. Wanjiko Kinyanjui and Mr. Eric Siele. Then we have the Department of Communication Studies, and the heads of department there are Dr. Chongombe and Dr. Susan Mwangi. And then we have the Department of Computer Science, and Mr. Sam Karuga is responsible for that department. If you have come to do a Bachelor of Business Administration and Management, you fall under the Department of Business Studies, a diploma in that area as well. A Bachelor of Arts in Leadership and Management also falls under that department, and other programs as well. If you have come to do a Bachelor of Arts in Communication or a diploma in that area, you fall under the Department of Communication Studies, and so on and so forth. By the end of this presentation, we will all know where we fall under, because we later on have program briefings with the respective heads of departments, and you will be instructed on where to go. Next slide, please. Then we have the Faculty of Social Sciences. The Dean is Dr. Suleiman Mwangi, and the heads of department are Dr. Petronila Otuya and Madam Miriam Mwangi. So here we have 2 departments, Faculty of Social Sciences for Limuru, Machakos, and Nakuru campuses, and then the Department of Social Sciences in Nairobi. So these 2 HODs are, and it's also the same case for the rest of the faculties, are available to serve any of the needs that you may be having, and we will be able to move well together collaboratively. Next. Then we do have the directorates, and one of the directorates is ODeL, that stands for Open Distance and E-Learning, and that basically is one that is tasked with taking care of off-campus, which is majorly what will characterize you as distance learning students, and also on-campus students who are on virtual teaching and learning. So this directorate supports virtual teaching and learning within the entire university, and we are responsible for ensuring that we have the right technologies to ensure that teaching and learning is happening wherever you are, and that you're able to learn anytime, anywhere. So I lead the directorate. So my name is Grace Kinyanjui. Then we have the Board of Postgraduate Studies, and this is where all matters research for postgraduate students is taken care of, and that is led by Dr. Julius Kahudia. So if you're a DL student who is here to do a master's, you will begin on ODeL, and then you will take all your coursework on that mode of study. And then when you start to write your research paper, we will hand you over to the Board of Postgraduate Studies, and you will fill in the requisite documentation to that effect. Then we have Research and Innovation, and that is led by Dr. Daniel Nzengia. And the two directorates, Board of Postgraduate Studies and Research and Innovation, again, work very closely together because of the research part of it that brings everything together. Then we have Registry, which is led by our academic registrar, Dr. Ruth Kingo. Then the library is led by Mrs. Irene Kibandi, and the Dean of Students is Reverend Dr. Joseph Mutei. So the directorates, the faculties, those are familiar, or rather people who will become very familiar to you because they will come in handy in the course of your journey as you pursue your studies. Then we have other managers that support the everyday runnings of the university, and that is finance and audit. The finance manager is Mr. Wallace Njao, and the auditor is Mr. Gaston Omondi. Then in administration, we have the registrar administration, Mr. James Mururi. Then we do have the human resource manager, who is Madam Lucy Gikeri, and the PRMO is Mr. Michael Mungai. And I'm sure you've interacted with that office closely before your admission. Next. We do have collaborations and partnerships globally, and those are the various bodies and institutions that we've collaborated with in different programs. So we have Kempten University in Germany, the Drexel University in USA, Medical Benevolent Foundation, MBF. We work very closely with as we pursue collaborations in the nursing arena. And then the Overseas Council of Australia, again, close collaborations in our theology area. Then USAID, Emory University, and Hayang University of Korea. And these collaborations and partnerships continue to be built on, and our new partners also continue to join in. And the major reason for collaborations and partnerships and their usefulness in higher education is that you get to benchmark, you get to improve on your quality as you do exchanges in particular areas, and so on and so forth. Next slide. We do have learning facilities to support your teaching and learning. For communication students, the teaching studios come in handy, and we do have one in Nakuru campus, and then we do have another one in Nairobi campus in Church House. In ODeL, in ODeL, the third floor of the postgraduate building, we are also putting up an audiovisual recording studio where lecturers will be going in to produce materials for teaching and learning that they will be uploaded as part of resources for teaching. Next slide. We also have computer labs. Again, on the third floor of the postgraduate building, we are putting up an e-learning center where our ODeL students will be able to access softwares and other assistive technologies for particular programs. And therefore, they will be able to undertake practical and technical subject areas virtually, because there will be assistive technologies that stand in the gap that is there when students are not able to come in for face-to-face interactions. Next. Library facilities are there physically as well as online. We have physical libraries in all our campuses. Feel free to visit those facilities and to borrow books where need be. They are all available for your use, but we also have lots of e-resources which can be accessible to you wherever you are, so long as you have internet connectivity to go into our e-library. And lots of trainings are conducted on how to access the e-resources. Please, if you see a call, respond, because that will be useful. The convenience is that you can access them in your house, you can access them on the move, you can access them from a different country. And so when you see a training call, please go in for that. Next is our expectation of you. As of this point, you're now part of the 6,000 students from 22 different countries studying at St. Paul's University in various certificates, diplomas, bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs. And therefore, We will require you to observe the values and the culture of St. Paul's University so that we can all coexist and so that your studies are also seamless and so that you also get to enjoy the support that previous students have enjoyed, that which has made their studies successful. So as you join this body, it is our expectation and our prayer that you're going to gel in fast and that you're going to settle in fast and that you're going to begin your studies in good time and with that be able to draw the full benefits of being a St. Paulian. We are going to train you, and the 3 T's that we are going to observe and also expect from you is that you're going to seek to develop knowledge, abilities, talents, skills, and competencies. And I'm sure that is the core reason of why you're here. And by the end of your stay here, we should be able to see a different individual in terms of the level of training that they are in. Also ask yourself about other capacities that you can build upon yourself, because as it has always been the tradition, every time you graduate, there are many other thousands of graduates in your field. And the question is, how do you distinguish yourself from all the rest? So it tells you that you need to diversify, you need to harvest or build a unique package within yourself so that you can distinguish yourself from the rest. There will be other trainings on the side. Please make time for those. There will be other certification trainings in your area of training. Please make time for those. Build yourself to distinguish and differentiate yourself from the rest. Technology, we now know the place of technology in the modern times. Strive to become technologically competent. Learn how to type, learn how to use the LMS, learn how to communicate formally. I think one of the things we were discussing this week had to do with emails. A student who writes an entire email in the subject, and when you get now to the body of the email, there's nothing because everything was written in the subject. That is not a good practice in writing emails. It demonstrates a gap. And so again, the challenge is strive to become technologically competent. Everything is being driven by technology right now. And truth be told, technology seems to be moving faster than most of us. So again, let us equip ourselves with the requisite technological skills so that we are able to thrive and compete effectively. Again, we will offer many trainings on various technologies. When you see the call, please respond appropriately. And one of those will be conducted today by Edwin in the afternoon. Also targets, set your SMART goals and targets and seek to achieve them and possibly exceed expectations. When you begin with the end in mind, it has a way of getting you motivated and helping you to figure out how to get there. So set your targets. If you wish to complete your studies within 2-3 years, please set that as a target and work towards it, because truth be told, it is also very possible to overstay during the period of your study, depending on some of the choices that you make along the journey. Next slide. And with that, we say thank you for choosing to study at St. Paul's University. We also say thank you for dedicating time to listen to this presentation and also to just availing yourself for this orientation. It will go a long way in helping you to settle in fast. I can tell you for sure that we are all here to serve you and to see to it that you are able to finish your studies in good time as per the goals that you have already set. And with that, that brings me to the end of the DVCAA's presentation. Merab, over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Grace, for that presentation on behalf of the DVC Academic Affairs. Thank you for the warm welcome to the new students and the overview on the university and even the tips on how we study at St. Paul's. So that was helpful, I believe, for the new students, and it sets the pace for the stay at St. Paul's University. So I would like to just once again welcome you, Madam Grace, to lead us through the next presentation on the distance and e-learning program, which is crucial for this particular set of students because of their mode of study. And even as you prepare to come, I would like to ask that colleagues keep looking at the chat so that if there are any areas for you to respond, you can straight away respond so that we move on smoothly. Thank you once again. So welcome, Madam Grace, for the next session.
Thank you, Merab. And I'll just continue and finish on this part where now I'll be giving highlights as the Director for Distance and E-Learning Programs. And the team has already been introduced to you, and I have already mentioned what the Directorate is all about and what it does in the university. So again, my name is Grace Kinyanjui, and I will dive right into the presentation. Next slide, please. Great, so we are all distance learning students, and I want to believe that there's a reason why you have chosen to study as a distance learning student and not a student on evening mode or regular mode. And as a distance learning student, this presentation is what will ground you on how to start off the journey and how to have a smooth sailing throughout the time that you'll be at St. Paul's University under this mode, because it has its own uniquenesses compared to the other modes of study. And most importantly, because you will be away from the physical proximity of the campuses. We will barely get to see you face to face. You will barely get to see us face to face. But through technology, we are able to interact in such sessions. And then we are also able to study supported by technology without having our facilitators in real time. But nevertheless, this is an acceptable mode of delivering education within this country. There's a lot of dialogue and conversations around it. And it is a mode that has been used by other students to succeed, and they have been able to graduate successfully with God helping all of us. And so as we start this journey, it is also my prayer that you will find it favorable and that the information that we are going to share with you today will help you to sail through this seamlessly. So what is distance learning? It is a flexible, accessible, and cost-effective mode of study. Why are we saying it is flexible? Because you are able to access your studies anytime, anywhere. That means whether you are in far-flung areas, whether you are out of the country, whether you want to study at night, if you're an evening person, and that is when it works best for you. And then it's also accessible, meaning that you can access it again from anywhere, anytime. It's also cost-effective in the sense that if you would have paid some money to board in a hostel, you will no longer need to spend on that. If you'd have needed to spend money on transport to travel to the campus, then you do not need to spend on that, because so long as you're able to access internet and you have a good technological gadget, you should be good to go. It is an alternative to the traditional classroom-based approach, meaning that instead of having you come to do it the way we normally do it, you now have an alternative that is driven by technology. And in this mode, you learn remotely with limited lecturer, student face-to-face interaction, and also student-to-student face-to-face interaction. It is very limited. As time goes by, you will realize that as you form WhatsApp groups and create friendships and networks and teams, you may want to meet to revise content for a particular course that is difficult to navigate through alone. And therefore, you will come together in those small social groupings and, do it, revise for that content or strive to understand it better. but you'll realize with time that that interaction is very limited because, again, the learners are spread out throughout the world. Next slide. In this mode of study, the students will be engaging with learning materials at home or at work. I think that's pretty obvious. And these materials are produced by the university and are accessed through the internet. That is the St. Paul's University e-learning portal. And the e-learning portal will be introduced to you today by Edwin. That is what hosts our virtual campus. So when you get login credentials into the portal, you are able to access all your classes, you're able to access your course lecturers, you're able to access all the university communication to you. And therefore, if you're not accessing the SPU e-learning portal, it means that you are not at the university, so to say, or you did not pay a trip to the campus. If you are taking this, if you're taking your studies on a face-to-face mode, the day you're not on campus, it means that you have lost out on a lot of things, including your lectures. For us, the day you do not visit the e-learning portal, it means you have equally lost, because that is where we will post all the news, that is where all the interactions with the lecturers happen, that is where all your learning materials are posted. And so if you do not visit that area, you have lost out. We also have a St. Paul's University e-learning mobile app. I will leave that to Edwin to show you how to access. But you can also access the virtual campus on your mobile phone. And the motivation for this, for the development of this app, was in the realization that most of us are using our mobile phones to do our learning. And therefore, a tool to assist you with your learning was designed and developed so that using your mobile phone, you also enjoy the same convenience. And indeed, the mobile phone is able to do so much for us in modern times. We'll also provide tutorial support through the virtual learning environment, that is the e-learning portal, on telephone, on emails, and the virtual learning environment means everything else, including WhatsApp or any other technological tools we apply, and the e-learning portal, which is Moodle, and that is what we utilize. So if you're stuck, we will be able to help you move, but our official means of correspondence is email correspondence. And to do that, you must use your student email address. And many times, even when you call us, we will always request you to do an email. So always begin with doing an email, and then we will always pick up on that issue and respond together with the team in the ODeL Directorate. Next slide. The distance learning degrees are not very different from the other degrees that students have gone through other modes of study. It is only the mode that is different. While on a normal day without COVID, the students would be on campus, for distance learning, you would ideally be off campus. Right now, the situation on the ground, as they say, is different. Because of COVID, students have been unable to come to the campuses for all the programs because of the social distancing requirements, and the facilities are not adequate for all of us. So a good proportion of our students are still on virtual teaching and learning, meaning that their courses are still being hosted on the e-learning portal. And so they're studying the same way as you without coming on campus. But we do have a number of programs that have resumed on campus, and so students are coming to study face to face. And we also have a situation where even those who are physically on campus for face to face have a bit of the content being covered online, meaning that they're utilizing the e-learning portal for some of the content, and that is what we call blended learning. So for most of our students right now, we are looking at that blended learning component where they're marrying between face-to-face and online learning. And then we have those who are fully on virtual teaching and learning, meaning that they would have been on campus, but they're now studying online. And then we have you, this group, who are not subject to the various factors and the various variables. Whether or not COVID was there, you'd still have been a virtual student. You'd still have studied out of campus. So those are the differences right there. And why I'm mentioning this is because at some point you will want to do a course that is not available on distance learning, but in another mode. And when we approve that you move to that particular mode, you will be required to take on the behavior of that particular mode. If it requires you to attend classes physically, then that is the stipulation there, and therefore that will be the requirement. Our distance learning programs are chartered by the Commission for University Education. We are at an interesting time where we are seeking for accreditation as an ODeL offering center by the same commission. Plans are underway, in fact, in full gear. We are preparing to receive the commissioners anytime now so that they can come and look at the facilities we have and our policies and processes and how we've been dealing with distance learning generally so that they can accredit us as an ODeL offering center. What that means then is that they will be happy with the quality of online education that we are offering, and we will be able to join the league of universities that have been fully accredited as ODeL offering centers. Next slide. As a distance learning student, one of the major indications of that, or one of the major requirements, is for you to realize that you are an independent learner. Remember, I talked about face-to-face interactions that may not be feasible or very limited. And therefore, from the very onset, it is important to know that you are an independent learner. What that means is that you are fully responsible for planning how you're going to conduct your studies, because remember, we said it is flexible and accessible. Therefore, it is up to you to see when do you study. It is up to you to ensure that you comply with the deadlines that have been provided. It is up to you to access all the information that is provided in the platforms, and it is up to you to ensure that work and coursework requirements have been met, because technology unfortunately does not lie. And even though we will want to justify that we did something, when we go back to the portal and find that there was no record of that doing, then it is likely for us to be subjected to the policy requirements. So honor your timelines, look out for news and communication. If you're not reaching any communication from us, either through email or you are unable to access your portals, again, let us know so that we can design interventions for you in good time. So it is prudent to point out that distance learning is not an easier route to a degree. I think that is myopic, and it has been a misconception broadly, that once you're an online student, then things become very easy because you're not coming on campus. Unfortunately, that is not true. If you ask me, this is where you'll be required to work even harder, because you are now in charge of the affairs and how they will run as far as your education is concerned. For us, our role will be to support you and to facilitate you and to ensure that you have all that is required for you to study well. You also must feel comfortable in a learning environment, in this learning environment. So you should have the right skills and tools. That means that you require a computer, for example, or a technological gadget that will enable you to access the portals. You will also require internet connectivity. You will also require the right skills, meaning that even though you have those gadgets, you must know how to use them. Are you able to type your work? Are you able to save it well? Are you able to attach it on the portals and things like those? So if you have a gap there, or we do have capacity building sessions, which you'll be required to attend so that you improve on your skills. But out there too, there are so many other interventions that you can pursue so that you can build on those skills. You are also responsible for your learning process. I've already said that, but most importantly, you need to have the discipline, the commitment, and time management. Remember, no one is saying that you have to be doing this now. It is you deciding when you should be doing it. And so manage your time well. If you're not able to send an assignment by a given time, you need to let your lecturer know in good time, because the assignments on the portal are timed and the technology closes you out, then we will have another issue right there. So if you are unable to meet a deadline, please communicate in good time to your respective lecturer. Next slide. Our expectations of a DL student, a typical week for you might include this kind of things: reading through the current week's assignments and lecture materials. So in a week, you expect that your lecturer will post some learning materials, so you're required to read them. You're also required to read the ebooks for the class, those that have been provided. Like I've said, we have e-resources, so the lecturer may post a resource there, an ebook, and require you to read certain pages. Please do so. We are also required to respond by a deadline to discussion questions as posted by the instructor. So where deadlines are provided, and a grading rubric, meaning that marks have been assigned to a particular activity, please go and do it, because that mark will count towards your end of course mark. So do that as required. You're also required to attend all synchronous sessions. Synchronous sessions mean this kind of session that we're having with you today, where you can hear me talk, and I can also I'll request you to unmute and talk to me, where we can put our videos on or engage in group work activities and so on and so forth. These ones will be scheduled by your lecturer. When they're scheduled, please make time to attend them, because those are the sessions where they explain content for the course or seek to understand which areas are posing difficulties and address them. So when those sessions are scheduled, please make sure you attend them. I think one of the issues lecturers are raising is that distance learning students do not attend these synchronous sessions. And honestly, it does you a lot of disadvantage, because when you're not attending, your colleagues who are on virtual teaching and learning are meeting their lecturers every week, and that content is being taken, they're being taken through that content in a live session like this. So you can imagine you're missing out on insights from your colleagues, insights from the lecturers. Please, when these sessions are scheduled, make time to do them. Again, class attendance is a requirement, and there's a threshold for class attendance. Also discuss through a discussion board by a deadline the responses of fellow classmates. There are lecturers who will request you to respond to your colleagues' contributions. Please do so by the deadline. Also complete your assignments by the deadline, and your lecturers will be sure to give you feedback on the same. When you're asked to work in groups, please collaborate and communicate effectively. I think we're also having a problem there, where students are refusing to collaborate with others, and refusing is quote unquote. And at the end of the day, some students are disadvantaged because they do not end up having a group work mark. Also, where videos have been provided using a URL link, watch and provide a reflection, or as guided by your lecturer, do the needful. So this is what you'll be expected to do in a week, in a typical week. And not all this will be there in a particular week. Again, lecturers have different teaching styles, but where you find any of this available, please respond as required. Next slide. So for this mode of instruction, we do enhance our interactivity with you as our students. And this we majorly achieve through synchronous sessions like what we're having now. We'll call you to meetings and require you to give us feedback, or we will call you to meetings to discuss a new development, or we will call you to meetings to just hear how you're faring on. So synchronous sessions such as this, and synchronous just mean like real-time sessions like what we're having now. Then we have the SPU e-learning portal. Again, I've said that is the virtual campus. That is where you find your virtual classrooms. That is where you find your colleagues. That is where you find your lecturers. Again, a lot of interaction happens there through chats, through forums, through discussions, and so on and so forth. Then we have emails, and I say that's the central medium of communication. So for everything, always make sure you do an email to us. Next. For this mode of study, again, you have a few things you need to ensure have been catered for. It is your responsibility to download the timetable from the portal. The timetable is always put on the portal, on the student portal. Please register and book the correct units. And every time, ensure you do this under the distance learning virtual campus mode. This is very important. This is how we always begin a semester. I think being your first semester, this has been done for you or will be done for you. But in future semesters, always look out for the timetable, read the timetable and interpret it correctly. Where you have challenges, let us know. And then you'll also be trained on how to book for those units. And by doing so, then we know that you are active in that particular semester. Also, note that all course instructional materials and cards are uploaded on the e-learning portal. So all learning activities are on the portal and not on the email. So for you to learn, you must visit the portal. Also, familiarize yourself with standard operating procedures regarding issues such as appeal of exam results, application of credit transfers, and also remember to observe the deadlines that have been provided. Most of the standard operating procedures will be talked about today. So pick some of the key highlights as the presenters talk about these things, because it is good to have an understanding of those processes and how things work out so that you can apply them as need be. Also, initiate and maintain contact, but in most times the lecturers will initiate and maintain contact. Reciprocate that with your course instructors so that you achieve the maximum benefits of studying through this mode. At this point in time, we cannot afford to have you just come to the portal to download content and disappear. You're required to collaborate actively. You're required to communicate and respond to anything that has been posted. So you need to be an active student. You need to have social presence within the portal. And then the other one has to do with the e-resources. I've already mentioned that we have millions of e-resources. So ensure that you are able to access this. There will be a library demo later today, that you're able to access the e-library and you're able to download the resources as need be. What I forgot to mention as I discussed the instructional materials and cards is that even for cards, you have to upload your responses on the portal. We do not receive anything on email. And that is why I was emphasizing on the need for you to observe deadlines so that you're not closed out and your card is also closed out. So work within the timelines that have been defined. Next slide. Exams, currently these are offered online, but previously we used to have students come on campus to do them face-to-face. It is my prayer that that is a gone phase as we also work actively towards ensuring that we have a sustainable solution on how we are going to administer online examinations, but at the moment they're being offered online. Also note that activities provided by the lecturer count towards the exam mark. So that whole coursework affair that includes quizzes, discussions, certain activities, respond to that because ultimately it will count towards your examination marks, and ensure that you fulfill all your coursework requirements. So every little thing that you've been asked to do by the lecturer has to be done before you can count yourself as a potential candidate to sit for your examinations. Important dates, these ones are always provided in the academic calendar. I think the registrar will be talking more about that, but that is accessible to you. And then all the university-wide activities are always put on the portal and publicized on the portal. Even the public relations office publicizes these activities so that you create time to participate in them. If you go to our portals, if you're able to access previous content, you will realize that we've been having lots of webinars and talks and so on and so forth. When you see those kind of things, please make time to also participate. Next slide, please. We have support services that are available to you. The students' handbook is always given to you as a new student. We also have a ODeL Students Handbook, which we will make available on the e-learning portal, and that speaks directly to the needs of a ODeL student. So once you get it, please read and familiarize yourself with some of the things that we are discussing here, or some others that we may not have mentioned here. We have e-counseling services. Merab will be talking about that. So if you're stuck, please seek for help, and Merab and the team will be ready to assist. We have sporting activities. We have not resumed complete normalcy in this area, but I am sure there are a few activities happening here and there. If you are available, please feel free to participate. There is mentorship, and we also have club activities. Next. We have the administration of ODeL. I will not spend a lot of time here because we've already introduced ourselves. So myself, I'm responsible for the leadership of the directorate. Patricia is the admin assistant who addresses all support service needs, and the emails that you write to us are majorly manned by Patricia, and she'll be a very common and household name as you journey with us. And then we have Edwin, who takes care of all matters to do with ICT and the portal. If you have any challenges, Edwin is the person to go to. And then we have Oscar, who checks on the quality of instructional materials to ensure that they are meeting your needs as our students, and that we are speaking to your learning needs and advices where possible, and also trains faculty to improve on the e-learning pedagogy. And then we have Irene, who is not captured on this slide, who deals with matters examinations. And I think with that, we have come to the end of this presentation. I wish to request Edwin to type our email addresses. Those ones you will find useful for your interaction with us. If you forget any other email address, please don't forget the distance learning at spu.ac.ke, because that is where we begin to address all the issues that affect you as our ODeL students. As our ODeL students, we are the first point of help if you're stuck or if you require assistance, and the team is ready to support you. And it is our pleasure again to welcome you to St. Paul's University, to thank you for choosing ODeL as a mode of study. This is, you have chosen to be with the best. And I can tell you for sure that ODeL at St. Paul's University is among the best in this country. When most of the universities closed down because they could not transition to virtual teaching and learning, St. Paul's University still continued to dispense with teaching and learning. It was teaching and learning nonstop. We graduated students. There were no major hurdles, and there were no major changes to our academic calendar because of COVID. We have the technology, we have the infrastructure, we have the competencies, and distance learning for us began in 2012. So over time, we have improved on the infrastructure, the mechanisms for handling distance learning. We have built on our policies and our processes and guidelines, and therefore you have chosen to be with among the best. And I can tell you that with a lot of confidence. You can even check with your colleagues and they will tell you for sure that you are at a good place. So as I finish, we will support you to finish your studies. This team will lead you to where you want to be with your academic goals. Welcome to St. Paul's University once again, and I wish you the very best as you soldier on. Thank you, and back to you, Merab.
Thank you very much, Madam Grace, for that elaborate presentation. I believe that all the new students are in a better place in terms of this particular mode of study. So thank you once again. And to the new students, you have the assurance that you've made a correct decision in choosing this mode of study and at this particular university. I assure you that you will not regret, and we are here to support you. So thank you, Madam Grace, once again. We move on to another very important presentation. Like you've been told today, we are giving you a lot of information, and it's all very helpful information in the different areas which are related to your stay or your study here at St. Paul's University. So I'd like to invite the team from Registry to take us through the next presentation. We have the registry in two parts, and they'll be able to take you through both sections of that particular department. I see Matthews is around. Kindly just introduce yourself and proceed with the presentation. Welcome, Registry team.
Good morning, everyone. Merab, can you get me?
Yes, we can, Matthews.
Thank you so much. So once again, good morning, everybody, and welcome to all our new students. I'm Matthews Ngadi, and I'm going to walk us through Registry. And like Merab said, Registry has two sections. We have the admissions sections and the examination sections. So I'll start with the admissions sections. So as a new student, for you to be able to access or to enjoy our services, which is basically academics, you must do what we call registration. And registration has two components into it. There's what we call booking of units and financial registration. In booking of units, you are to choose the units you want to be taught in any given semester. And this you'll be guided by the timetable which the directorate will avail to you. After booking those units, you now go to the next step, which is to pay for them. All this can be done virtually. You don't have to come to campus. All you need to do is to log into your student portal, book the units according to the timetable, and then pay for them. That is what we call financial registration. When you do these two things, you'll be able to enjoy our services. Like the director did say, that learning is strictly online. So you'll be able to get your materials online, learning materials online. You'll be able to sit for your CAT. You'll be able to sit for the exams, and you'll also be able to receive your results. Remember, you don't have to pay all the school fees in full at one go. You can start by paying at least 40%, which the finance people will tell us more about. And I need to reiterate here that registration is going to be an activity you as a student will be required to undertake any given semester, because every given semester you'll be doing new units. So you'll have to be booking those units as per the timetable from the directorate, and you pay for them. How do you know how much to pay? Again, the system is friendly. Once you book, you'll be given a pro forma invoice which shows you 40% and the full amount for the units you have booked. I am reliably informed that for this semester, we are booking for you the units, but the registration, it is you who is supposed to do it. So the units will be booked for you, but you have to register. Yeah, you have to decide how many units you are going to do. Again, you don't need to worry about it so much. In the afternoon, you are meeting with ICT, who will take you step by step how to navigate your student portal and how to book them and how to register. Once you book and register for units, at times you find yourself in a situation whereby you want to drop a certain unit and bring in a new one. And that one brings us to what we call add and drop. During add and drop, just of note is that anytime you drop something, you drop a unit, your name is removed from that class list. You are no longer a member of that class. Yeah, it's very, very important to know that. And anytime you add a unit, just remember to complete the registration process, okay? Just remember to complete the registration process so that you can appear in that class. And when you appear in that class, you can now be able to interact with the lecturer in terms of getting materials, sitting for cards, and any other information that you will require. When is this add and drop? Like the director did say, we have what we call important dates. Again, the important dates are captured well in your portal. So if you go to your portal, all the activities of the university are captured there. When are you supposed to register? When are you supposed to pay fee, first installment? When are you supposed to do your cards? When will the exam be? When do you expect results? All our activities are captured under what we call important dates. And again, this one is in your student portal. You don't have to visit us physically to see this. ICT will tell you how to navigate the student portal. During registration, again, as a student, you are expected to activate your email address. ICT, again, will come in handy here. Remember what the director did say, all our communications will be through emails. Even if you call us, yes, we will listen, but again, we'll advise you to write to us, and you can only write to us through the SPU email address. So remember that you activate that email address. If you use Yahoo or Gmail, we will always remind you to use our university email address. And there's a good reason for that. In your student ID or in your registration number, it contains some vital information. Like if we use the one I have here on my slide, BBAM NRB 383222. BBAM tells us you are a business student, NRB, maybe Nairobi campus, then your number and the year you joined. So if you were to communicate to us and you use your email address, we will get all the information we want from that, because your student number by default is your email address. All we need to do is to add the suffix at spu.ac.ke. Yeah. So if you are BBAM NRB 383822, we simply add at spu.ac.ke, and that one becomes your email address. Such that should there be any issue, the prefix BBAM tells us the department you belong to, and should there be need, we can easily connect you or connect with that department so that we serve you better. Again, that number 383822, you can also use it to access our library. Our library, we have both physical libraries in all our campuses and the online one. So anytime you happen to visit us physically and you want to access our libraries, yes, you'll be allowed. All you need to do is to produce your student identity card, which has your unique number, which is your unique identifier, and you'll be able to access our library services. So from this moment on, please memorize, cram, do anything to make sure that you know your registration number in full. Don't even forget one digit. Forgetting one digit could easily mean assuming another student's identity. Then there's we have what we call credit transfers and exemptions. These ones are available for students who have either done professional courses or those who are progressing. Maybe you did certificate, you're now going to diploma, or diploma to degree. As in, you'll be allowed not to do certain units which you had done in those professional courses or in your other areas of studies. But more information about this will be given to you by your various departments when you meet them later in the day. Changing of campus, yes, I know right now you are joining us as distance learning students, but just to let you know, like has been said before, we have 4 campuses and all of them are available for any one of us to study there. So for any reason you want to come back as a
physical student, you can, it's possible, yes, you can join any of our campuses. All you need to do is to complete a form which we call a student transfer form. You get cleared by the DL, and then you present it to any of the campuses you want to study. So it is possible to move from DL to regular or evening and vice versa. There is what we call evaluation, and during evaluation, what we want is just feedback from you as a student of the services that the university is offered in terms of academics. So for each and every unit that you'll have registered for, you'll be required to evaluate it, to give us a feedback. And this one is also done online. How do you know when evaluation is due? Again, you go back to the student portal, under important dates, you'll be able to see when evaluation is being done. Evaluation is very important because it gives the university valuable information of how to improve on its services. Additionally, evaluation also assists you to print an exam card. Okay? Before you do any exam, you'll be required to have an exam card, and you cannot print an exam card unless you have done evaluation. So check our important dates and get to know when evaluation is due. Defer of studies. Yes, you can defer studies to mean you can push them to a later date. But even as you are deferring studies for various reasons, maybe school fee problem or some other reasons that are acceptable to the university, you should know that each and every level of study has a lifespan within which you have to complete it. So for example, if you are taking certificate or diploma, which in most cases takes 1.5 years, just know that even as you are deferring, within 3 years, you should have completed that certificate program or diploma program. For undergraduate, which ordinarily would take you 2.5 years if you don't have exemptions, just know that even as you are deferring, you should finish or conclude that study within 6 years. Okay? Within 6 years. And then we also have postgraduate, that is master's and PhD programs, which you should complete within either 5 or 6 years, depending on the program. So as we are deferring, let's note the maximum allowed time within which we should finish these programs. Now, what happens for somebody who has overstayed? If you overstay, for example, you are taking undergraduate, which you should do within 6 years, and then 6 years elapses and you have not completed, what will happen is that you will be surcharged 5,000 shillings per year until that time that you finish, provided it is within the maximum duration. So if undergraduate you are supposed to complete in 6 years, you have not done so, you'll be charged 5,000 for up to another 6 years. After which, if you will not have completed, then you will be deregistered. Unit load. How many units are you allowed to take in any given semester as a student? Now, as per the policy, the minimum or the least number of units you can register for in any given semester is 3, and the maximum can either be 6 or 7 in any given semester. For most of our programs, there are 6, except for those who will be taking computer science courses, where you're allowed to take 7. So minimum 3, maximum 6 or 7. Again, when you meet your departments, they'll tell you the maximum you are supposed to take in any given semester. Even with this maximum, there are some students who are exceptionally good. Their records are good. That is those who score 70 and above. If you fall in that category of an A student, then you can always write to your dean to request to do an extra unit, okay? And this one will help you finish your study even much faster. But the caveat is you should be an exceptionally well gifted student who is scoring A's and above. Important information, like the director did say, we will communicate to you through email or through the portal. Always check the portal. The directorate normally posts some important information there. Okay, that is just a screenshot of what I was talking about. Like if you go to your portal, under important dates, you'll see something like this. It tells you when the university is opening, or when you are registering for your units, when the lectures are starting, and late registration with penalty, when will it come, when do you have to apply for credit transfer. So every activity in the university is timed, and that one is very, very key. So one of the things you should always look at and master it well is the important dates, because if an activity elapses before you do it, either there will be a penalty or you might be forced to defer your studies altogether. So please be on the lookout for the important dates in your student portal.
Sorry, Matthew, kindly move the slides. I see a few comments.
Okay. How is it now? Madam Grace?
We are seeing the one on the students portal.
Okay.
Previously, we had the one on defer of exams.
So do I proceed with the deferred or student?
Maybe you can take us back to that slide, the one on defer.
Okay.
There.
Yeah. Okay, I'll repeat again. So what I was saying is that students are allowed to defer their studies for reasons that are acceptable to the university. Maybe you have school fees issues, you are sick, or any other reason that might not allow you to continue with your study as you had initially planned. But then even as you are planning to defer, we should remember that there is a maximum amount of time within which you must complete your program. For example, those who will be taking certificate courses and diploma courses, you must complete them within 3 years. For those who are taking undergraduate courses, programs, you must complete them within 6 years. And for postgraduate, that is masters and PhDs, we should normally complete them within 5 to 6 years. Then the big question is, what happens when the time elapses and you have not completed your study? So what happens is that for every additional year that you stay in the university, you'll be surcharged 5,000 shillings up to the maximum of the duration allowed in the curriculum. And I'll give an example again using diploma or certificate. 3 years have gone, you have not completed, you'll be charged 5,000 every year for another 3 years, within which we expect you to have finished your study. If that's not the case, you'll be deregistered as per policy. So even as we are deferring, please let's make sure that we complete within the allowed duration. How many units are you going to do in any given semester? The least or the minimum will be 3, the maximum will be 6 or 7. And of course, your department will tell you which departments the maximum is 6 and which departments the maximum is 7. Then there are those students who do very well. We normally call them A students, those who score 70% and above. You are allowed to take an extra unit, one above the maximum. And this one you can do by requesting the dean, or you simply write to the directorate and then the directorate will follow up with your department. Okay. Issues to do with the prerequisites, elective courses. When you go to your various departments, your head of departments will tell you more about what is a prerequisite unit, which ones are electives, which ones are core, and what they mean, and their contribution towards your studies. Official mode of communication, like the director did say, will be through emails. So please, if you want to write to us, use emails. If you want to write to you, we'll use emails, but they have to be SPU emails. Your lecturers will also communicate to you, but through the portal. I've just given a screenshot here of some of the things you are going to interact with in the student portal. And I've been talking about important dates. You can see that it lists all the activities that there are in any given semester and the duration or the timelines for those activities. So of importance here is that you note the timeline of each and every activity so that you are not left out. Because if you are left out or if you are time barred, two things, either there's normally a penalty or you'll be told you have to defer until next semester. Everything is there on the important dates. How to navigate the student portal, how to access your teaching timetable, ICT will again tell us. These are just screenshots of what happens in that portal. Now, like Merab did say that we are giving you so much information at a go. All this information that we are giving are also captured in the student's handbook. And this handbook is available in soft in your student portal. So again, you can always visit your portal, go to the student handbook and read all this information. Where you need more clarification, you can always write to the ODeL for more information or for more clarification. We actually discourage students from asking their peers or their fellow students for more for information or for clarification, because chances are somebody will tell you as they had it and it could be wrong. So always feel free to write to us and we will give you the correct information. I've given contacts here of Registry, but maybe they might not be of importance to you because this is just a general slide for all the students. Every time you have issues as an ODeL student, just write to the ODeL email addresses that were given and you will be sorted out. So that is as far as student admissions is concerned. I'll now take us through the examinations bit.
Utaniachia sasa.
Okay. I'll now take us through the examinations section. Great. So Merab, if you can see my slide.
Yes, Matthews, we can see them.
Okay. So we are going to talk about the examination divisions of registry. We have now seen what happens in the admissions. You have registered, you have attended your classes. So for you to be able to sit for university exam, normally we require you to have fulfilled 3 key requirements. One is that you should have paid your fees in full within the deadline. Remember, I said initially that when you are registering, we allow you to pay 40% and you start attending your classes and getting materials. But as at exam time, you'll be required to have paid your school fees in full 100%. And of course, this one is also captured in the important dates when you should do that one. Then you should also have participated in coursework or the CATs. So your lecturers will be giving you activities throughout the semesters. And like the director did say, you must participate in all of them. You don't choose which ones to participate in and which ones not to. Everything counts. So you should participate in all the coursework or all the CATs. And lastly, lecture attendance is normally 75% for those who come in physically. But you who are online, we have a way of monitoring your participation. So all these 3 will qualify you to sit for our exams. Much as we are saying that university examinations are compulsory for you as a student once you are duly registered, normally or sometimes rather, circumstances do arise which are beyond you, such as when you get sick, when you are bereaved, or if you are unable to pay school fees in full. If you find yourself in any of these 3 categories, then if you find yourself in any of those 3 categories, then we will exempt you from doing the exam. Either you are sick, you are bereaved, or you have failed to pay fees in full. Now, even as you are being exempted from paying your fees in full, you should write to us. You should write to the directorate and attach evidence as to the attach evidence showing why you are not able to do your exams in any given semester. Okay? Yeah. So you are sick, you are bereaved, you are not able to pay school fees in full. Please inform the directorate that because of these reasons, I'll not be able to sit for this exam. The reason you are doing that is so that for us to preserve your cut marks or your coursework that you have done throughout the semester, and also to allow you to do those exams when next on offer without any pay. Should you just keep quiet and not communicate to us, when you raise that issue later that you want to sit for this exam, you will be required to pay for the full fee of those particular units. Okay, now, what do we require when you're in the exam room? For those students who will be coming in physically, of course, we'll require the writing pen, the student ID, and the examination card, which they print from their portal. For you who will be doing the exam virtually, all that is required from you is that make sure you are in a place where the power supply is guaranteed, is stable, and internet connectivity is also good. These 2 things are very key. Make sure there's internet connectivity, make sure there is power supply. Normally, we don't kind of listen to excuses later when somebody says, where I was, there was no internet, or where I was, there was no power. So please make sure there's power supply and there's internet connectivity, because you will be doing your exams virtually. For any given exams, just like the ones you've done previously, there are rules and regulations. For physical exams, we have our rules and regulations. And for virtual exams, we equally have rules and regulation. One of them is that you should not cheat in any way. Plagiarism, especially for you who will be sitting for virtual exam, we really discourage it. And like you'll be told, we have softwares which can easily let us know whether you've plagiarized somebody's work or not. Presenting other students' work as yours, we also have ways of detecting. Maybe somebody has done the work, then all you want to do as a student is changing the admission number and presenting it as yours. Even if you interchange them in terms of numbering, we will still be able to get you. So cheating is not allowed in any way. For those who do exams physically, if you find yourself doing exams physically, normally we post the exam rules on the notice boards, and we also read them to you before the exams start. Why are we saying we don't allow cheating? It's because it has very serious consequences. Once we suspect you have cheated, you will be called for a disciplinary hearing, and you'll be given a fair chance to defend yourself. Should you be found guilty of cheating, then there are consequences which are very dire. One, you'll be suspended for a whole semester. Two, all the exams you will have taken as at the time of cheating, you will cancel them. And upon returning, you'll have to register afresh for all the units, pay for fees again in full, because if anything, the fee had been utilized, you had been taught, and everything else was availed to you. Repeat the coursework and take exams for all the units that had been cancelled. So you can see the consequences of cheating are very dire. A whole semester suspension, cancellation of all those exams, and doing them again when you come back. Yeah. Once you go to your student portal again, in the student's handbook, all this is captured, the various things that we do not allow you to use in the exam room for those who might one day do exams physically. But for you who are doing it virtually, plagiarism is key. We are really out to look on it. Just some screenshots of various ways students used to cheat in physical exams. Examination results. You have done your exams. How do you get your results? Normally, we post those results in your students' portal. And remember, in the university, the only body that is allowed to release results is called the Senate. Not your lecturers, not the ODeL, not the examination office. It is the Senate. So even after you've done your exams, don't go following your lecturers, don't go following ODeL asking for results. Wait until the Senate declares results. And once that is done, it will be posted to your student portal, and you'll be able to see how you have performed. Ordinarily, we do not give hard copies. We do not give a result slip. But if you need one, you can always ask, and it can be prepared for you to come and pick. Once results have been released and you are not happy, you should raise any queries concerning your results within 2 weeks of the release of results. Not that one, within 2 weeks. Results have been released within 2 weeks. If you're not happy with any unit, please raise it then by writing to the directorate. Can you appeal? Yes, you can always appeal. And you can appeal from 2 fronts. Either you can appeal concerning your coursework, or you can appeal concerning the final results that we post in your portal. As concerns your coursework, that is the cards or the work the lecturer will be giving you throughout the semester, you can do it one-on-one. You tell the lecturer, you gave me a wrong here, you did this, but I feel I deserved better. And normally it's very easy, it ends there, okay? But even after talking to the lecturer and you are not satisfied, you can always escalate it to the ODeL so that we look at it with the lecturer and the department concerned and see how we can be helped on that. But the first is to sort it with your lecturer. That one concerns the coursework. For the final results that is released in your student portal, if you're not happy, again, we have said within 2 weeks, you raise it up. How do you raise it up? You write a letter to the DVC academics. You write a letter to the Senate, through the DVC academics, and then there's a fee you are supposed to pay. You will be told by the finance. Then your complaint will be looked at independently, and then a decision will be arrived at, and you'll be informed accordingly whether there's any changes or the status quo remains. So yes, you can appeal. If you're not happy, please don't sit back there and hold grudges. Just inform us, and just use the appeal channels that I've mentioned so that your issue can be addressed. Again, once the results are out and you are able to see them in your portal, normally 3 scenarios emerge. 1, you have passed, you are happy. 2, you have passed, but you are not happy. And 3, you have failed. So what happens is that there are 3 different exams for these 3 different categories. For those who have failed, and for you to fail, it means you have scored less than the minimum. For all the courses, the minimum is normally 40, except for masters and health sciences, where the minimum pass mark is 50%. But for all the other programs, the minimum pass is 40. So anybody scoring 39 and below, it will be a fail. And again, this one will be repeated to you when you meet your department. So what happens when you fail? There are 2 exams. One is called a receipt exam, and the other one is called a supplementary exam. These 2 exams are for those who have failed. What is the difference? For receipt, this is how you go about it. You register for that unit afresh, you attend classes, you do the coursework again, and then you sit for the exam. So it's like you're registering anew and doing everything anew. Once you do that exam, whatever mark you get, that is what will be given, and that is what will appear on your result slip. However, the letter R will always be, the grade will always be labeled with letter R to imply that this is a retake. So if you do 2 retakes, it will be double R. And the maximum attempt of receipts you can do is 2 times. Yeah, you fail once, you fail twice. If you fail for the 3rd time, we'll normally refer you to Senate for way forward. So that is how we go about the receipt. For the supplementary, all you need to do is to inform the directorate that you want to sit for a supplementary exam. Normally, you pay 3,000 per unit. Then you avail yourself just for the exam. You do not go to class. You do not do any cuts. For supplementary, once you do it and you pass, irrespective of the pass, you'll always be given the minimum pass. If you score 70, if you score 80, if you score 100, you'll be given the minimum pass in that particular program. And mostly it is 40 for undergraduates and 50 for postgraduates. And this is where it gets different from receipts. For receipts, whatever you get, we will give you. For supplementary, we give you the minimum pass. Again, you cannot do supplementary more than 2 times. If you fail for the 3rd time, you are referred to Senate for more action. And just like with receipt, for supplementary also, the letter S will be indicated next to your grade to show that actually this is a supplementary exam. For grade improvement, like I said, this is for those students who have passed, but they're not happy. You expected to get an A in a unit, but you've gotten a B. You expected a B, you have gotten a D. So you are allowed to upgrade. How do you do it? You apply, you register for the unit, you pay for the tuition fee for that particular unit, like will be calculated for you by the accounts. Then you attend the classes, do the coursework, everything, then sit for the exam. Once you sit for the exam, we'll now compare the 2, your first attempt and this grade improvement exam. whichever is high is the one that we will give you. Okay? Grade improvement, there's a caveat to it. You must apply for grade improvement within 1 academic year or within 3 semesters. Okay? You cannot learn until at the end of your study, maybe you are doing 4th year units, then you say, I want to improve grade 1, 1st year units. No. Within 3 semesters, you should have made your mind that I'm improving on this grade. The university, through the directorate, again, will be monitoring your performance very closely. For any student who will get a cumulative average grade of F in any given semester, will be issued with what we call academic warning letter. Now, this academic warning letter is normally a wake-up call. It is to alert you, the student, that, hey, the path you have taken or the trajectory you are on is dangerous. Dangerous in terms of it will give you challenges getting jobs because your grades are very poor, or you risk being discontinued. If you get cumulative average of F for 3 consecutive semesters, then you will be discontinued. And to be discontinued means you will no longer be a student of the university. But what happens if you are discontinued on academic grounds? We allow you to apply for readmission. When you apply for readmission, you become a new student and you are issued with a new student number. Then we also allow you to ask for credit transfers. And the credit transfers will be given only for those units which you scored 50% and above. Okay. So being discontinued on an academic ground doesn't mean all is lost. You can apply for readmission and you can apply for credit transfers thereafter. And these credit transfers, of course, you pay for them and accounts will tell us how much. Normally it's 20% of the unit cost. Detailed information, again, like I said earlier, we get them in your student portal, in the student's handbook. If we all do this, and I'm sure we are all going to do this day will come when your effort will be recognized and you will be conferred with various degrees and diplomas, and we shall be happy that you'll have fulfilled your vision and mission. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you for choosing St. Paul's University, your university of choice. Mera.
Thank you, Matthews, for that presentation. Once again, a lot of information for our new students. The good thing is, if there's something which is not clear, you know how to seek help and you'll be assisted. And a lot of that information is also within the student's handbook. Thank you, Matthew, for the presentation. We are moving on well. I'd like to now invite John Munira from Finance to take us through the next presentation. Finance, welcome.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As John prepares for his presentation, there are still questions in the chat. I believe that, Matthews, you can continue answering and responding to the students, as well as my colleagues responding to other questions already raised. Thank you for the good job you're doing. John,
it's advisable that when we have.
Let us know when you're ready, John.
Before people are doing presentations, you're ready to do your presentation. If you don't,
To the new students, I trust that you are finding the sessions helpful. You can now see why it's important to attend orientation. So far, we have covered some of the areas as per our plan, and we still have more coming up, because after presentation from finance, we are going to have a presentation from the Dean of Students' Office. This one takes care of your welfare as a student and takes care of areas like chaplaincy, counseling, and so on. Then we will have the program briefing. This is where we divide into different sections depending on the courses we have enrolled for. So we'll have sessions with the heads of departments, and you will get more about the course. It will be more on academic now focus, so you'll be able to learn more about the course. Then later on, we will have a presentation from ICT. As you can see, ICT is very key. So we are going to have a presentation from that area, as well as a library, which will close the day. And you will need to know about e-resources and how to access the library material that you require for your course. So all these are key areas. Please remain in there and pay attention. Thank you. John Munira, perhaps you can check on the mic, because I can see the presentation, but I can't hear anything yet. Sorry, John, I don't know whether I'm the only one. I cannot hear.
That doesn't mean problem is and you know, critique is a good thing, because students critique another's work.
Sorry, John, you need to check on your audio.
Yeah. So what we will be doing is even my comment when I send you back the draft of your work.
Sorry, John Munira, kindly check on your audio. We are not with you. We are not with you, John. Kindly check on your mic.
That's why I'm there.
John Munira, we kindly check on your mic, the audio.
Ask me.
John,
All right. So, we will
John,
be details of
John, there's a problem with the sound.
fees.
There's a problem with the sound.
So this means that one will not be able to read, two will not be able to.
Yeah.
John, there's a problem with sound. Kindly. We have a problem with the sound.
I will restart my presentation. I'm sorry for the hitch. So what the student registration process normally starts from one. Students are required to select their units through the student portal, and when selecting the units, one is required to use the timetable and not the roadmap or the course planner. So after booking, then one proceeds to view the pro forma invoice, which will guide the student on how much they are required to pay as per the number of units one have booked. Also, the pro forma invoice shows the minimum amount required for one to be able to pay, so that they can start their learning by accessing the modules on the e-learning portal. So third stage is the payment of tuition fee. After the payment of the tuition fee, one is supposed to complete the registration process by clicking a green icon that is found on the student portal. So after clicking that icon, then the student will be able now to access the modules on the e-learning portal. Next slide, Matthews. So fee payment can be done under two modes. One, for those who have financial capabilities, can pay the full fees at the beginning of the semester. But those who are experiencing financial difficulty, for the first month, we require one to pay 40%, so that one can be able to access the e-learning modules and access the cards and assignment. For the second month, we require the student to pay the 30%. And the third month, we require the student to clear the remaining balance of 30% of tuition fee. What happens if one is not financially registered? Student will not be able to access the e-learning materials or the modules on the e-learning portal, and one will not be able to access the cards and assignments. No registration will be done past deadline. This means every semester we do have a set deadlines whereby students are required to book the units, pay 40%, and complete the registration process. So once the deadline surpassed, no student will be allowed to register for that particular semester, even if they had paid the 40% tuition fee. They'll be required to call off that particular semester and resume the following semester. So fee payment modes, one, we do accept banker's check. Then also students are allowed to deposit cash into the university collection account. And the university does not accept cash or personal checks. Then thirdly, the third mode of payment, we do allow student to pay through the paybill number, and the paybill number is 632-333. The account number is your student registration number. Also, we do put a disclaimer by discouraging students from paying through bank agents. Next. Details on the bank slip. Ensure disclosure of full student number and not the guardian or any payee. So for example, assume that I'm a student. I should ensure that the teller include my full names plus the registration number. Our bank are as below. We do have the National Bank, Family Bank, and Equity. The advantages of our accounts, you do not need to master the account number because there's a way you have synchronized our system with the bank. So once you go to the teller, you provide the cash plus your student ID. The teller will be able now to credit the amount into the university account, and immediately the payment will have reflected on your student account. Other finance costs that we do have surcharge. As I had stated earlier, every semester we do have a deadline for registration. Once the deadline has surpassed, normally the system is locked and no one can do the registration. So a student will be required to write an email to the HOD, or in this particular scenario, will be required to write an email to distance learning, copy the accounts office. So assume the registration period was today, and then a student writes an email like tomorrow. So the penalty will be 500 shilling for registration. So the registration period only runs for 6 days. So the penalty cannot exceed more than 3,000. So swapping of units, normally this arises whereby a student had booked a different unit which is not under the roadmap or not done in that particular program, and they want to drop that particular unit. Normally this one is done at a cost of 1,000. Adding a unit past the registration deadline, a student incurs a charge of 1,000. For those who will apply for credit transfer normally is payable the semester one has been granted. So for one to be able to sit for the exam, one will be required to pay the credit transfer plus the tuition fee. Next slide. So graduation is payable upon application for graduation, and normally application for graduation is done through the student portal. For those who will be going for the attachment, normally attachment is paid in full. For the diploma course, attachment fee is 13,000. For undergraduate, the attachment fee is 23,000. Next. So I want to differentiate between exam clearance and exam deferral. So for exam deferral, this arises whereby a student had attended or had done all the coursework. This includes cards and all the assignment, but they are not able to sit for the final exams due to the following reasons. Either they are not able to clear the 30% fee balance, or they are not feeling well, or due to work-related issues. So in this particular scenario, the student will be required to write an email to distance learning office and copy the accounts office stating that they are not able to sit for the exams due to the following reasons that I had given. So the student will be guided on how to request to sit for those exams if they are being offered the following semester. For semester deferral, this arises whereby the student is not able to register in a particular semester and continue their study. So student will be required now to write an email to Registry, Distance Learning Office, and Accounts Office stating that they are not able to continue with their studies at the beginning of the semester. Note, when a student has been registered financially and they want to discontinue for that particular semester, we normally surcharge based on the time of the communication. For the first month, we normally charge 25% of the registered units. For the second month, when a student wants to defer a particular semester, we charge 50% cost of the registered units. For the third month, we charge 75% cost of the registered units. For the fourth month, towards the exams or towards the end of the semester, when one wants to defer that, to call off that semester, we charge a penalty of 100% cost of the registered unit. Next slide. Also, we do accept third-party checks, that is from CDF or county government, and this must be presented to the accounts office and must be attached with a letter detailing the beneficiary details, that is the admission number plus the name and the amount. Also, we do accept help, that is award letter or remittance advice note. Also, we do accept corporate checks. Next. Fee refund policy. Fee refund policy is done under two conditions. One, when a student is withdrawing from the university completely and has an excess money. Two, upon the completion of the program and one has graduated. Note, the refund, we do not refund money or excess that arises from either payment received from HELP or county government. So because we have an MOU between the university and county government offices or the CDF, whereby if the excess is asked from the said amount, we normally refund the said offices so that it can be able to assist the needy student in those particular constituency. For HELP, if the excess arises from HELP, we do advise students to write to accounts office requesting the accounts office to refund the excess money to HELP so that you can be able to offset your financial obligation with the said HELP offices. For refund, normally is levied at 5% of any refund. Next. Communication to finance office must be done through official email address. In order to communicate to us, you can write to accounts-odel@spu.ac.ke. So thank you and most welcome to St. Paul's University.
Thank you very much, John, for the presentation. I'm sure he has touched on a number of areas, and if something is not clear, he has given you the emails to seek clarification from. I also note that there are some questions within the chat. Perhaps, John, you can just look through so that you can be able to respond on any immediate questions. So thank you for that presentation. I would like to also just let our students know that some of the areas probably you might be having questions on, like units, credit transfers. You'll get more clarity when you meet your heads of departments. So have no fears, it will be dealt with if it has not been addressed yet. So once again, thank you, John, for the presentation. So we are moving on well. We now have a chance to listen from the Dean of Students office, and Reverend Diane, who did the devotion, is with us. So I'd like to welcome Reverend Diane from the Dean of Students office to take us through the next presentation. Welcome, Reverend Diane.
Fair enough, fair enough. But is this something that one would be interested in finding out? Why?
Thank you, Merab. Let me share my slides. Then we proceed.
As Reverend Diane prepares for the presentation, I'd like to inform the students that you will get new links for the program briefing. So just be on the lookout. You will get some new links for the program briefing. And then you will be able to choose which link to join depending on your course of study. Thank you. Go ahead, Reverend Diane.
Thank you, Merab, once again for this opportunity. On behalf of the Dean of Students, I present our slides. Once again, starting to welcome you to St. Paul's and tell you that our commitment in this department, which works for the general welfare of all the students within the university through one, setting up structures that guarantee general welfare of the students. Two, facilitating programs that enhance both social and spiritual development of students. And three, responding appropriately to the needs of the students. In this department, we have various members of staff spread across the campuses. We have Reverend Dr. Joseph Mutei, who is the Dean of Students based in Limuru, Dr. John Kiarie, who is the Assistant Dean of Students based in Nairobi campus, Mrs. Ann Dungu, Assistant Dean of Students based in Nakuru campus, Daniel Kirienye, Reverend, Assistant Dean of Students in Limuru campus. We have Reverend Samuel Gedenji, who is the University Chaplain, Diane Mugambi, myself, Chaplain Nairobi campus, Moses Yongo, Chaplain Nakuru, Reverend Susan Muhui, Chaplain Limuru, Lydia Maina, University Counselor, based in Limuru, Merab Mulindi, who is leading this program, based in Nairobi campus, and we have Ruth Kioko, Secretary to the DOS. Allow me to add one more staff, who is Reverend Francis Ole Kiok, based in Machakos campus. Services provided by this department. First of all, this program that is being run today by Merab is a program that DOS runs. So the department facilitates proper orientation of all the new students. We also help the new student understand the university structures, programs, and procedures, thus ensuring they settle in as fast as possible. Student leadership. The department facilitates the election of student leaders and also work hand in hand with the elected student leaders for the welfare of the student. You realize that at some point in your life at St. Paul's, there will be elections for various departments in student body, and this is the docket that handles all student elections. Counseling services. The department, through the counseling office, facilitates students the peer counseling program, also provides psychological counseling and support to students, provides advisory services, example in careers and academic addictions, and among other areas. The counselor can be reached at counselor@spu.ac.ke. So in other words, what we are saying is that don't suffer alone in case you're going through stuff. Please reach out to our counselors in various campuses. Student clubs and co-curricular activities. This department facilitates the formation and running of students' clubs, encourages and promotes participation of students in co-curricular activities, as well as facilitating interaction of students with those from other universities. So in terms of games and other activities, we are also networking with other or working closely with other universities, and this is the department that facilitates that. Scholarship and work study. The department facilitates the signing of the students' help and other loan forms, for example, from your constituency forms and all that you may need some help in signing. This is the department that you come in for signing of those loan forms. We also in charge of the operations of the student work study program. Sports. The department encourages and facilitates, recommending the development of different sporting activities within the university. So in every campus, you realize that is taking place. Sorry, must have rushed. Purchases sports equipment and facilitates the training of students in the different activities, and also promoting and facilitating student participation in sports at the local, national, and international levels. General student welfare. Generally, the department puts in place clear procedures for getting students' grievances. So it ensures also there are mechanisms for getting feedback from the students and resolves students' grievances in conjunction with the student leaders and the various offices in the university. Also set up structures for dealing with the issues of student indiscipline. So in case of indiscipline, this is the department that handles that. We also offer chaplaincy services. I began the orientation with a devotion. We also have other chaplaincy programs. So the chaplaincy exists to develop and strengthen the spiritual formation for all the members of the university through, among other activities, conducting worship services to the students, other members of the university, and the neighboring community. Basically, you will be receiving emails from the chaplaincy department welcoming you or inviting you to our online services and other services as planned by the chaplaincy department. So it also falls under the Dean of Students. So I also welcome you to our chapel services and other Bible studies and other activities run by chaplaincy. Now, procedure for handling grievances. How do you go about grievances? Now, students are encouraged to raise the issue with the person concerned, whether student or staff, and if possible, solve it at that level. Now, if this does not work, the complaint should be made verbally or in writing to the office of the DOS, who will investigate and give the response to the student within the shortest time possible. Now, we have expectations from the students. We expect students to be respectful and courteous to all members of staff. We also expect students to observe the university's rules and regulations by upholding the university code of conduct and the dress code, including decent dressing. No alcohol and drugs within the institution. And so we also expect that students provide any necessary information that may be required from you from time to time and give feedback. So we take this opportunity to very warmly welcome you to St. Paul's University, your university of choice, a place where we produce champions in this life. God bless you and thank you. Back to you, Merab.
Thank you, Reverend Diane, for that presentation from the Dean of Students Office. I'm sure now students are aware that this department exists and it caters for other activities away from the academic. I know as DL students, we don't meet you face to face, but the services are available for you. You can still do the sporting activities from where you are and just be part of the community, the St. Paul's community. I'd just like to say a few things about the counseling section within that particular department. We provide the services because we are aware that you enroll as a student, but like I like to say, life happens. Something can happen such that you are not able to focus on your learning or can interfere with your learning process so that you are not able to quickly achieve what you have come to achieve at St. Paul's. That is why we have the counseling. At the same time, sometimes you just want to boost your chances of success in achieving your academic goals. So in that way, you can come for professional, personal, career, and academic counseling. Just to give you some highlights is that we have a number of issues we deal with. Emotional stress, relationships, self-esteem, anger issues, loss, because you might come here and Lord forbid, you lose your job, you lose a loved one, and so on. Like the chaplain has said, also issues around substance use and just developmental issues, personal growth and development, academic issues, and any other concerns you may have. This counseling section is there for you so that you don't walk alone, you don't feel stuck, and the best part is that you achieve what you came to achieve at St. Paul's. So all students are eligible and we maintain confidentiality unless by the exemptions which are provided for in the profession, that is court orders and so on. So physically, I am based at Church House, Nairobi, and we have another counselor based in Limuru. You can see us physically, even if you are a DL student. You may find it easier to come to us physically, and we will serve you. But at the same time, we provide online services. So feel free to get in touch with us. I've put the email, counselor@spu.ac.ke. You can get in touch with us so that we communicate and organize for sessions. So thank you very much, Reverend Diane, for ably covering that whole area of the students' welfare. I'd like to believe that you are moving on well and you're benefiting from this particular activity for the day. And we are about to break into different groups. I believe by now we have all received links for the program briefing. Like I explained, program briefing means you get to meet your head of department depending on the course you have enrolled for. So the links you've received will either lead you to business courses, social science courses, communication courses, and theology. So depending on your program, we'll ask you to join the specific link. One important thing to note is that theology students, if you're here and you have enrolled for a theology-related course, BD, Bachelor of Divinity, MTH, or any other theology-related course, your program briefing will be at 7:30 p.m. this evening. 7:30 p.m. this evening. This is only for theology students. This is the message from your head of department because he's involved in another activity at the moment. So 7:30, you will have your program briefing with him, same link which has been shared. But the rest of us, we are going to have our program briefing right away, and then we will move into a break and convene at 2. At 2, we will convene in plenary like this, where we will have sessions with ICT and library. So as we break up for the program briefing using the links that have been shared, have in mind that we will meet at 2. Again, the link will be shared out, and we have sessions for ICT and library. I don't know whether I'm clear. I can see some questions. Allow me to just go to the chat. I believe the links have been shared out. If you haven't, you will get help. Madam Director, are you with us? I respond again to the ones who are saying it's not clear. We've had plenary sessions with everybody, but we are going into a session where new students get to meet their heads of department. It is a more academic session because you will receive more information on the particular course you have enrolled for. So the links you get, you don't join all those links. You only join the link which is related to the course you've enrolled for. For example, if you're doing a business course, then join the link for business. If it's social sciences, join the link for social sciences. Communication, join the link for communication. Theology students, kindly, your orientation, your program briefing is at 7:30. So you will log off, but yours will be at 7:30 in the evening. And then for all of us, we will meet again at 2. At 2 in a plenary session where we will be taken through ICT and the library. So make a point of joining in plenary at 2 so that we can resume with the joint sessions. Thank you. We still have a question? I can see people are logging out and joining the others. The heads of departments are waiting for you on those links. Or if they are not, they will join you on those links. So make a point of joining those links which have been shared so that you can meet the academic staff.
Then you send it to me by email, then I will
make a point of joining the specific link so that you meet your head of department. This is now course related, so that you can now talk academic, clarify issues on the course map, course planner, credit transfers, the units. All those now will be dealt with within the specific academic program that you've enrolled for.
Whenever we are doing chapter 1, it will be based on this objective. The purpose will be the same.
Thank you, Matthews, and all those who are responding in the chat.
I'll send you this.
If you still have a question, kindly go to the chat. We will continue responding to you. PR has shared the links.
It is not a difficult class, but like I said before,
using the same contact you used to come to this particular session. They've now sent you that second set of links. Thank you for those who are joining those other links, because it is important that you have a session with your head of department. Let's continue joining. Let's continue joining. Theology students, your program briefing is at 7:30. 7:30 this evening. Your head of department will be waiting for you at 7:30 this evening, using that same link you have received. PR has shared the links. Let's check our phones, because the same telephone number you gave is what has been used to share the links. The same way you got to this one is the same way you will get to that other link. Okay, they've sent via SMS. Please check. PR is under communication. PR is under communication. Let's continue joining the links so that we can get to meet our heads of department. And then we meet here at 2 for the ICT session and library. Theology, your program briefing is at 7:30. However, we still meet here at 2 p.m. for ICT and library. Hello, for those ones who are still here, have you gone to the links shared so that you can go to the relevant program briefing? Hello? Hello? Let's log
Hello.
out from here. Yes. Have
Uh,
we
I'm
gone
still,
to the... Uh-huh.
I'm still waiting for the link. Is not yet in my SMS.
You've not received it yet?
Yeah, I've not received any. So I'm still waiting.
Okay, because they are sent out all together. It's a bulk SMS, so it goes out at the same time.
Okay, I'm
Maybe
just
you
waiting.
can refresh or something.
Okay. Let me see. Thank you.
Maybe just refresh just in case it came in.
Thank you.
Okay. Mary Elizabeth, Benson, Martha, Celine, kindly let us go to the links shared. Martha, Benson, Mary, Elizabeth. Hello. Can we go to the links shared? The HODs are waiting for you. Thank you.